Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. We just delivered the load. I'm your host, Terry, by the way. Just delivered that load that it took 22 hours past the appointment time to pick up from Anderson, Indiana. Just delivered it at Wegmans in Pottsville, PA. So I'm hoping to get, another load, but I'm not optimistic about it, so I might just be sleeping for the night. So a couple of things in trucking news, and the first thing is, and I've shown pictures of stuff like this before, but this is pretty amazing. So the Georgia Department of Public Safety basically called out a truck driver on social media because his truck was so disgusting and had so much trash piled up inside of it that it wasn't clear that he could completely depress the pedals, with all the trash rolling around. But take a look at, these are both pictures from the same truck that got pulled in for an inspection in Georgia. Don't let that be you, right? Like every truck stop has trash cans. And by the way, Prime has said stuff about this too. And I just saw, I have a picture that where the stuff is piled up to the window ledge in a truck that I took in Ohio a couple years ago. But my son and I saw a truck just maybe 2 days ago where crap was piled up. I mean, that door is an escape route and a rescue route, so when you put stuff in front of it, if you ever roll over on your driver's side, they have no way to get to you other than through the windshield or cutting the truck apart. And everything that's over there, I don't care how strapped down it is, if you roll the truck over on its left side, all that crap is going to end up on you. And if you got a fridge over there or any other thing, it's going to be on you, and it's going to be flying. I just don't believe in that at all. So anyway, that's that. So in trucking news, CFI's truckload division has been bought by Heartland Express. Heartland Express said it would be immediately accretive to earnings, meaning it's not going to take them any time. They're immediately going to show a profit from buying that division. From a personal standpoint, like understanding how TFI operates, I think that's a win for the people at CFI. I don't have a strong opinion either way on CFI, but I think it's a win for them. I think it actually is more beneficial based on what I've heard about how TFI came into taking over UPS Freight. So that's one thing. Being bought out by somebody is never a great sign, but they said they're going to keep the terminal in Joplin open. Hopefully not too many people lose their jobs and stuff, because that's always what happens. Speaking of losing jobs, USXpress, parent company of Variant, has announced another round of layoffs at their corporate headquarters in Chattanooga. They just recently, their chief commercial officer left, and this follows the guy that ran Variant plus their chief technology officer being fired late last year. They're still saying the same thing. If we get more trucks, it'll spread out our fixed costs to cost more trucks. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, but you guys are already having a lot of problems recruiting and retaining people. Their numbers on that in the Variant division suck. So I don't know what's going on there, but they laid off about another, 50 people. Now, the last time they said they laid off 50 people, which was maybe a month or two ago, people on social media said it was more like 100 or close to 100. 100, by the way, is the magic number for what is called a WARN Act notice. If a company lays off more than 100 people in one location, they have to notify the state that location is in before they do it. So they could have laid off like 96 the last time and said it was 50. I don't know. I'm taking them at their word, but they're still shedding people. The other news, Colonial Freight Systems, which was a completely owner-operator company, is shut down basically at this point. I guess they sold like 50 trucks and 55 contractors. I'm not exactly sure how that works. To Purdy, who's based in Birmingham, Alabama. Colonial was out of, I believe, Knoxville, Tennessee. So that's kind of an update on things in the trucking world. I expect other carriers will be, there will be more consolidation, there will be more closings. You know, if you're at any company, you need to pay attention to what's going on. You know, and when you start to see signs that things aren't going the right way, you need to start, you know, tuning up your resume. Okay, so I wanted to talk about an emergency fund. You know, my friend Lyle over at No Hippie Trucking and Transportation, he had a video, I don't know, it's probably been 3 weeks now, about having an emergency fund. And I know from knowing Lyle how he does his emergency fund. He has Prime hold the money. And I believe Prime does pay interest on it, so there's nothing wrong with that if that's how you want to do it. If you're a lease operator, owner operator, you know, that's a safe place to, you know, hold the money. I don't do that. My company doesn't do that. My wife's company really doesn't do that. Excuse me. But I have talked about what we also do. I'm paid a salary by the LLC that leases this truck. And I'm paid the same salary every week, whether I drive 100 miles or 1,000 miles or, you know, 10,000 miles, right? I'm paid the same salary every week. Some salary, some per diem. And recently I said to my wife, you know, I was talking about taking time off and, you know, stuff like that. And her comment to me was, and also I knew we needed to pay for some stuff that was coming up. And I said, and I knew my son was going to be doing PSD. So I said to my wife, hey, you know, I'm a little worried about money. And her response to me, which was very comforting, was, well, the company has 10 weeks of your salary in the bank. And so, you know, that is our version of an emergency fund. But we didn't get there overnight. For example, we didn't always have 10 weeks. We built up to it. But how did we build up to it? Well, we actually built up to it by only taking a salary, right? It doesn't matter how much money the truck brings in or how little, as a matter of fact. I get the same amount every week. Now, obviously, you need to build up for a little bit of time. But if the truck makes, you know, if the truck nets $6,000, you know, this week, it won't. But if it did, I wouldn't get paid $6,000. I wouldn't even get paid $3,000, right? I'd get my salary, and everything else would sit there for a rainy day or for when we want to make other purchases. Like, we know that the lease purchase program, or excuse me, the lease purchase program is coming back. We're going to need, I think, 14 grand if they do it the way they used to do it. We're going to need 14 grand. Well, we're going to need 1,000 to order the truck. But when it comes in, we're going to need to have 13 grand to put towards it. But maybe, depending on what time of the year it is and stuff, we may want to put even more money down just to lower the weekly payment. But my point about this is that it's the discipline that creates those emergency funds. It could be, you could leave the money with Prime, you could put the money in a bank account, maybe a money market account. You could even get to the point where you could ladder CDs and get more interest or whatever if you really wanted to do it that way. But how we've done it is just say we have payroll discipline. Here's the paycheck. Doesn't matter what the truck makes, that's the paycheck. That's an easy way for then my wife to budget, because she doesn't work all year. She's a school teacher. She's back to work now. But it's a good way to budget, because you say, hey, this is what I've decided my pay is. And really, your pay shouldn't be outsized either. You shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to pay myself $3,000 a week. It's nice to make $150 a year, but let's be candid. You're a truck driver, okay? And the business might take in $150 a year, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you're going to want to have money laying around for, like paying your CPA, paying your taxes, a million other things, right? And so you don't want to be spending every dime and then calling it a salary, because that's not going to work either. So if you're coming into this business, or maybe you've been in this business for a while, an emergency fund is essential. I can assure you of that. Lyle is totally right. It's an essential thing, right? Because we're only as good as our last week, right? And it's really easy to get a negative week. And if your truck's in the shop, you got something goes wrong with it, it might be a big negative week sometimes. So you gotta look at that. Or even if you just, like, what if you get sick for 2 weeks and you can't really drive? 2 weeks, even a truck that has no external expenses, that's probably going to put, that's probably going to put you around $4,000 in the hole when you add up, lease payment, APU, insurance, the other stuff that we pay for. It's probably going to put you $4,000 in the hole, and then you got to ask, okay, how much do I have to run to get out of $4,000 hole? Well, that's going to vary, obviously. But if you got an emergency fund where you get paid every week, then you would get paid those 2 weeks while you were sick, and you're going to continue to get paid during the time that you catch up. Sounds like a good plan. So anyway, I share that with you. If you got any questions, put them in the comments, and I will be back to talk with you soon. Bye.